Nervous system, we know that it has CNS divided into CNS and peripheral nervous system. CNS, we have brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system, the afferent division and the efferent division. Afferent division or sensory neuron, it receives, or the somatic sensory or visceral sensory that takes the information to the CNS through sensory neuron. The receptors present in the organ, visceral organ, or when the receptors are activated due to stretch, due to chemical changes, pain, touch. So those, when the receptors are activated, the axon potential move from receptor to sensory neuron and then sensory neuron to the CNS or spinal cord, then brain. Motor, and in the brain or the CNS, the integration takes place when they receive the sensory information. Motor unit, they execute the function, whatever the information the CNS has received. So it may, the motor functions, we have somatic nervous system. They regulate the voluntary movement or voluntary activity like skeletal muscle activity. Then autonomic nervous system, motor innervation of smooth muscle, cardiac muscle or gland secretion. Then we have sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. And another division is like enteric nervous system that also regulate as independently sometimes. So that enteric nervous system also called second brain, we have discussed in last class. So 6 anatomical region of CNS and their functions. So the CNS, it has divided into 6 anatomical region, and let us discuss very briefly about their function, what they regulate or what is their importance. The spinal cord, then brainstem like medulla, pons, midbrain, then diencephalon and tolencephalon. So cerebral is not included in this section, but cerebellum also described along with the pons, because the embryological origin of pons and cerebellum is the same. And cerebellum have many important functions, mainly for locomotion. The spinal cord, it contains trac. Sorry, spelling is wrong. T-R-S-C-T, trac. Trac means it is a bundle of axon within the CNS. That is called trac. So input information or output information. So this is the root in the spinal cord where the information takes to the brain, CNS, and information brings from the brain to the peripheral nervous system. So sensory information from skin, muscle, tendon, joints, and visceral organs enter through dorsal root, and motor neuron exit from ventral root, capable of controlling simple reflexes like muscle stretch, reflexes, limb withdrawn from painful stimuli. Spinal cord, the sensory neuron that enter to CNS through dorsal root, and the motor neuron that exit from spinal cord by ventral root. The medulla, it regulates very important functions like life supporting function, respiratory and cardiovascular system, feeding also like taste, tongue movement, swallowing, digestion, and vocalization. The nuclei or the cell body of the cranial nerve also originate from here, and because of that, this function also can be regulated by the medulla. The pons also receiving sensory information from orofacial touch and motor control of chewing. So cerebellum is not a part of brainstem, but often described along with the pons because of a similar embryological origin. Cerebellum is for a smooth, accurate, coordinated movement, and for motor learning. So our positions, our postures, every time it is updated by the cerebellum. As soon as needed, when we come to in our conscious level, so the cerebrum, the cerebrum is updated from cerebellum. Cerebrum is updated from cerebellum. So every time cerebellum is updated, our posture or locomotion, all the motor neuron, also sensory neuron, it sends information to the cerebellum is receive all the information of our posture, locomotion. Midbrain and the mesencephalon. This is a processing and relaying area where all the neurons that comes through this. This is a bridge between like a brain and the spinal cord, and it also regulates eye movement, reflexes, induce pupillary constriction, and reticular formation are present in this region. Nuclei, where in between the nuclei there is axon. So this reticular information play very important role for regulator of arousal and consciousness. Diencephalon, it contains thalamus and hypothalamus. Thalamus, we know that it is a relay center. All the information it comes then from the thalamus, it relay to the cerebrum or the cerebral cortex. Or the information comes from cerebral cortex through the thalamus and it goes to the CNS and then peripheral nervous system. The hypothalamus regulates autonomic nervous system, hormone secretion, and many functions regulated by the hypothalamus. Major role in physiological homeostasis, temperature, blood pressure, feeding, and behavior also. The tolencephalon, it is a cerebral hemisphere made up of cerebral cortex. Its spatial function is integration, receiving information. It will process in the cerebral cortex, then execute the function, formulates and execute voluntary movement. Basal ganglia, it modulates motor function, memory, and learning, hippocampus. So these are some of the very significant function of tolencephalon or intelligence of ours. It's mostly regulated by the cerebral cortex. So what is the functional organization of nervous system? Before also we discussed that it receives informations, then it will process it, and which is necessary to execute. Then the CNS will decide and then sends motor output. And so many reflexes are controlled by the CNS. It may be spinal cord, then also higher center. So this is about the organization of nervous system. Thank you.